We are here for our third feature match of the night. Uh, we are looking at Dan A, who is a new player in our league, versus Emmett, who's been around for a little while. And interestingly enough, they actually know each other in real life. They know each other from their local card store. And Emmett and Miranda told Dan A about our league, and here he is signed up. And then they ended up being paired against each other for the feature match. So, funny little story there. So, despite being new to our league, he's definitely not new to Magic, and he's 6'3" so far, so pretty adept. He has a green-black deck looking from his hand with green and black cards and green and black lands. What do we see Emmett running over there?
Well, he looks like to be a Boros deck splashing black. He
Okay.
put a black card on the bottom for his mulligan and just drew Morbid Opportunist. The Morbid Opportunist being, of course, the house of its format, essentially.
Oh, Morbid Opportunist. That's a card.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
that is big business if you can get that going, and it doesn't take much to get it going.
Yeah, just really need removal. He has a Sacred Fire to kill off some small creatures if he does play.
Okay, so Dan is probably going to play a Phyrexian Rager on his turn, and he has quite a nice 4-drop to follow up with after, which is a card from New Capenna, Elegant Entourage. Uh, okay, so he's siding with the Barricade here over the Rager. Probably figures it's less likely to die than a Rager, and based on what you were telling me about a Sacred Fire in hand, seems like you made the right call.
Well, he has a Furious Bellow as well, so
Okay.
it just makes it so that he doesn't have to use the Sacred Fire.
Yeah,
Still fine.
also the Furious Bellow is going to trigger the Baird, right?
Ah, yes.
If he decided to block and then he used it. So Dan's got quite a nice hand. Just depends on if Emmett's going to let him play out everything. Um, so he has so he drew a red card here, so he's splashing red. It looks like, but he has Phyrexian Rager, Writhing Necromass, Tail Swipe, and Terra Sunder as removals. Elegant Entourage, and Flowstone Infusion as the red card he just drew on the splash. So looks like he is going to block here because he has the Terra Sunder, which he chose to do that over casting an Elegant Entourage. You know, he must have clocked that with that attack last turn, Emmett has something. So, he figured if I leave my mana open, because he didn't have mana open last turn, I can blow out whatever he has. And that looks to be the case, unless Emmett has something else in hand. You said he has Sacred Fire, and what's the other
He
card?
just drew Garna, so he cannot play it anymore, as
Okay.
he did cast Furious Bellow.
Yeah, Garda's 2 red and a black, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And 1. Yeah, so...
But yeah, it was a nice read from Dan, figuring that Emmett is he has to
Yeah.
kind of attack.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think he necessarily had to attack. Okay, so he's gonna Sacred Fire his own creature just to draw a card here. Because of the Terra Sunder would actually exile the creature, he would not get to draw the card. So he wanted to draw that card, and now Dan has a really nice turn. He drew his 5th land. He could just go Elegant Entourage and Tail Swipe. So really nice play there. I think it's Jordan. Are you able to mute yourself, please?
Apologies.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so that Terra Sunder really set down on the right path here, and also being able to get a nice 2-for-1 with his removal. Right, so he's going to trade off for Garner here. See what Emmett's drawing.
He's just drawn a Search Party Captain, not the most efficient body. Will still replace itself.
Look,
And he has drawn to Writhing Necromass, which he could play for 4 next turn.
Look, I got no bad words about 2/2s that draw a card. So
Yeah,
Search Party
I know
Captain
your
is
preference.
all right with me, but not supremely impactful here.
Oh
But,
yeah. I mean, ever since White has started getting some creatures that draw cards, it has a lot more game in draft.
yeah, Yeah, yeah.
Like
That's a
if
choice
you,
they made about 2 years ago, and they've been pretty consistent with it. Not every single set, but most sets.
I mean, I just remember in general, white was like considered to
Okay,
be like the weakest, or if not
so
one of the weakest colors in every set.
Dan decided to attack with his land and then sack it. Doesn't have too much to play. He drew a Llanowar Green Widow, which is that rare spider. He can also cast a Writhing Necromass here for 5, but he's just going to kill the opposing Necromass and attack with a land, most likely. Yeah, so Dan's hand is pretty stacked right now. Writhing Necromass, Llanowar Green Widow, Flowstone Infusion, which he could cast if he wants to with his Mana Dork, and Urborg Repossession, which is another all-star of this format. Uh, just a card that wins games. That card makes all the difference, and the 2 life is so huge on that card.
Yeah,
This is
makes
one of
it
the best
so.
versions of the like return 2 creatures to your hand from graveyard at common. And it's not even 2 creatures. It could be a saga.
Yeah, we've always had in limited, like whenever there was like a pretty valuable effect that also now, like we'll just think about like some black removal spells that also gained life, even though if they were sorcery. I'm thinking of like Lich's Caress, 5 mana, kill a creature to gain through life. The gain through life is still massive on the, and making it sorcery, like it's still fine.
Yeah, they made it about as cheap as they could at 3 mana here with the kicker.
Oh yeah.
Like this could have been 4 mana and nobody would have blinked and it would still be good. But like they could have made it 3 to kick or 2 to play on the front side, and the card would still be good. But they just put the numbers as low as they possibly could, and card is a big format player. So
Like what was the last set we had? Yuka Penta, like the spell that brought back cards was like dig up the body,
yeah, dig up the body, which was
and it was
you had to work to get back 2 creatures.
yeah,
Yeah,
and even the
we've
set.
had some good ones in the past. Kamigawa had a particularly good one with
Which
the
one was that
instant
one?
speed. It was an instant speed, get back a creature and an enchantment for 3. Season of Renewal, I think it was called.
Okay.
That was like a big player in the format. But yeah, Urborg Repossession's been a star. Yeah, so we see Dan he's using his Lone Speaker aggressively here just to attack for 3 rather than play out too many more things. Like he could have been playing multiple things a turn, but decided to just go for this route, which is effective. There's a Famished Foragers here, which with excess mana and cards in hand can be useful, but he's also found an Evolved Sleeper, which is another place to put in mana. That could be a 3/3 death touch right away.
Does Dan have a way to kill the 1/1?
He has a Flowstone Infusion. Yeah, so
Okay.
Sacred Fire is
So
being flashed back, so he can just untap and safely Flowstone this Evolved Sleeper before it gets out of range. He has Tribute to Urborg as well. So
okay,
he's
so Emmett has kept the Knight of Dawn's Light on top. It's not gonna perform it to its best capability with him only having one white mana, but
yeah,
you know, a creature's a creature.
yeah. So he's gonna Flowstone here, and looks like he's gonna spend his 6 mana to bring back his Spider. So he's gonna bring back the Spider. He's gonna untap, and then he can kill the first striker with Tribute to Urborg. So Emmett needs to draw something impactful because he's going to be out of life in short order here.
This
Yeah,
game like kind of all stems back to like just playing the Gibbering Barricade over the Rager and then just holding up mana just to blow out Emmett. It just made it so he just had no more tempo.
yeah, it was a really astute play to just say, well, he attacked into my 2/4, so clearly it has something. I'm just gonna leave up my mana, and even if they don't blow them out, I could still just 1 for 1 and kill the opportunist or the Baird, like exile one of them, even if he doesn't attack. So because both of those are premium targets for removal, right? Like Baird
Yeah.
and Morbid Opportunist are things you want to kill anyway. So if you can get them and a pump spell out of it, like even better. So very astute line of play. Play the defensive creature. hold up mana rather than playing a 4/4 and take over the game. And from there, he had all the momentum. So looking at his deck here, I did see it the other day a bit. Um, of note, Helena and Elena is his red splash, as, along with
Oh,
Full Swing Infusion
that's quite a good
and
one.
Flame Blessed Bolt. So that's quite the card. Um, yeah, he's picked up some good cards from the Innistrad sets here. Flame Blessed Bolt, Shadow Beast Sighting, Flourishing Hunter, which is a 6/6 for 6 that can gain some life. Um, he's open. He has some Capenna cards too. I'm seeing here. Chaldea Strongarm. So he's been all over the multiverse, so to speak. He has 4 bite downs and 2 tail swipes. So as long as he has
He's
creatures in play, he's wiping opponents' creatures off the board. He even has a Liliana of the Veil, which we saw last week is just so limited, but still a cool card. It's a planeswalker. Yeah, so
like, against
his deck
aggressive
looks
deck,
very nice.
against an aggressive deck, I like Liliana. It gets rid of a creature. It soaks damage. It's kind of what you want from your planeswalker against an aggressive.
Yeah, his deck is very nice. So from Emmett's deck, do we know if there's a splash color? Like,
No, it looks to be
okay,
straight 3 color from this perspective.
okay. So I mean, his mana mostly worked out that game for Emmett. It's just he ran out of cards. He lost both of his premium creatures that he played early. So mana wasn't the issue there, but with a 3-color deck that looks to be a deck that wants to curve out, mana could be a problem there. But we saw him do okay mana wise that game. He was able to cast all
It
those spells.
Yeah, it does look like you're going to be jumping through some hoops to potentially get like the good curve you want, especially since you're 3 color. 3 color and aggro is typically you know less consistent.
Yeah, it's harder to make work if you're trying to be aggressive. So Emmett's mulliganing here.
Sets it back. Now he has a hand with like 5 lands and like a drops him exactly what his kind of wants to do.
Yeah, that's not great. So Dan's weighing his options here. He has 2 swamps, a mountain, a black 3-drop, Balduvian Atrocity, and 3 green cards. So if he doesn't draw a forest, he's going to have very little to do. He can play a 2/3 for 3. Um, but he has quite a few turns to draw the forest because both of his green creatures are 4 drops. He is sending it back, which I think is the right decision. Just too slow here. His hand is quite slow as well. Elegant Entourage, Writhing Necromass, and now 5 lands from his draw step. So,
So,
what kind of? So Emmett, you said kept a hand with just 1 spell.
yeah, yeah. He basically sent a land back and he drew a land, so his hand is basically 5 lands,
All
and
right.
now he's drawing a Parrot Binding.
Well, if you like players playing lands and passing the turn, then this is going to be the game for you. Because, well, Emmett, Dan will get to play his 4/4 for 4 on turn 4, though.
I like
Right?
Dan's position a lot more,
Yeah,
honestly. His
there's a
deck just is
Garna.
better suited for the long game.
Yeah, so Dan now drew an Elfhame Worm to cast next turn. He also has 2 red cards, 2 of his 3 red cards. So a little unfortunate for that he can't cast them yet. Helena and Elena in hand. You want to get that on the board as soon as you can. Um, so has Emmett drawn some spells in the interim here?
Yeah, he's drawn a heroic charge. He also has a mount. He
Okay.
he'll be able to do stuff for like the next 2 turns.
Okay. So the game effectively started on turn 4, and now we just have all beef creatures here. We got just big
Yeah,
bodies staring at each other here for a minute until somebody breaks open. Okay, so the
going
the
for the
Gar
attack.
the Garna obviously is encouraging Emmett to attack, um, but he can just trade off from the Garna and not let him get any value.
Yeah, might just choose the prayer of binding the 4/4.
Yeah,
But I
that could be. Okay, yeah, he's gonna do that. He wants his Garna alive.
That's an extra threat. Makes it so you have to kill the Garna.
Yeah, so Dan has 2 choices here. He can. I think he's gonna hold up his Extinguish the Light. Covert Cut Purse, which is a bit of a deep cut from a Midnight Hunt,
What is
is in
covert
his
cut
hand.
first?
it is a disturb card. It's a 3 mana 2/1 in black, and it will destroy something that has been dealt damage.
I see.
And on the backside, I believe it's a flying Death Toucher.
Okay, well, here
So
come the creatures again.
yeah. So if Emmett is going to try and blow out uh, Dan here, it's not going to work. So he's going to be facing the same problem as last time. So yeah, now he's blocked the Outrider and got to kill the Garna, so that the board's going to be clear, and Garna will have not drawn a card.
Yeah,
So
good,
again,
solid gameplay.
yeah, Dan has been impressive with his plays. Like, he's new to the league, but obviously he's been playing Magic for quite some time. And yeah, like I mentioned, you know, Dan and Emmett know each other from their card shop, and we told him about League, and here he is, and volunteering for a feature match, which a lot of people in their first league, are a little hesitant to do that, but give him full credit here for jumping right into it against a very good player. Again, both of them
Very
have very good
nice.
records. 7-2 for Emmett and 6-3 for Dan. So they're both gonna. If Dan wins here, he's gonna be finish the week probably in the top 8.
Very nice interaction between the Kavu and the monstrosity. Paying for the Kavu does not actually make you pay more mana for the monstrosity.
Yeah, just you're even on mana still. So
Yep.
pretty nice there. All right, so he's attacking him with the Kavu. Um, does he have a spell in hand to kill this 5/5 in combat? Or
He has a heroic charge plus a pump if he wants to.
okay.
Might just take the 2/1 trade and play off his coalition war.
Well, it looks like he has stacked the 5/5 to take that, or he's deciding which is taking damage.
Okay.
Has he stacked the? No, he did
Yes.
stack it. Okay.
Yeah, he did stack the 5/5 first. So he's just gonna
Okay.
go for the 2 for 2.
He wants them both gone. That makes sense. So now Dan, with his 2 red cards in hand, is staring down a 5/5. I mean, he could play a Death Touch now.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so
the
he's
trample
drawn a
will still
Shadow
finish him
Beast
off.
sighting, but I have to imagine the Death Touch is better. Yeah.
It, it
Okay.
the death touch will leave him dead on board because the
Oh
thing has
right.
trample.
Yeah. Okay. He's at 2. Yes, he's been taking way too much damage here. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So yeah,
So
Dan's got to pick
that's
up
not gonna
something
work.
quite incredible.
Forest ain't gonna do it. Yeah. So just these big creatures coming from Emmett's side just put Dan in quite a bind here.
Yeah. Also, we see the mana problems coming. Not having color.
Yeah, I think he's playing 2 mountains and 1 geothermal bog. Alanowar Loam Speaker fixes of Florifer's Vinewell can find you it, but I think for 3 cards you need to have more sources. Um, Probably need a couple more red lands in your deck or ways to find it. Um, Usually 3. Usually for 1 card you want like 3 to 4 sources. Usually around 3. Um, so maybe he was a little light on red sources. I mean, he only has 3 red cards, but we saw there he drew 2 of them. Um, they could have been
Yep.
impactful. Now Dan's in a bit of a mess here. He has to mulligan a 7 spell hand, a 0 lander.
Yeah, Emmett has one of the better mana bases he could hope for. He got
Okay, great.
one of each basic land type and a Thran portal, so he's
There you
kind
go.
of good to set up for anything.
How are his spells looking?
He has a Eerie Soul Tender, Prayer of Binding, and Danitha to on his
Okay.
5-drop slot.
Yeah. So Dan's gonna maybe be able to apply some pressure here. He has a Green Widow, the spider, to come down next turn. He has his mountain too, but unfortunately, as we see, if you're watching his stream, his Halana Elena and a bunch of other good creatures are going to the bottom. So his Flurfus Vinewall found a forest and like 5 good creatures that are all at the bottom of his deck now. So Vinewall giveth, and sometimes it taketh away.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to see, but
I
we
think
we
if he could
all
have,
go into
yeah,
the variance trap.
yeah, it's just so demoralizing when you're like, these are all cards I would want to see at some point in this game probably, and think it happen. So in hand, he has a tail swipe, a bite down, and a covert cut purse. So as long as his 4/3 can stay alive, the 4/3 might be chomping down on all these creatures with the the bite and fight spells here.
It's kind of surprising to see him play the Thran Portal up so early, especially since it's Mountain Hand, because he's just gonna end up playing a Serious Soul Tender this turn.
Yeah, Thran Portal has been not a super high performer. I mean, it's necessary evil, I suppose, but City of Brass that only makes one color is
Yeah.
it's a rough ask. I think. I mean, like I said, in League, 3-color decks, do what you got to do. There's a Haunted
Oh,
Ridge, so that's a nice one.
yeah, Haunted Ridge, very sweet.
Yeah.
Makes the choice of Thran Portal on white to be quite good.
All
Now
right.
we might just see the same situation we did in my performance in the top fight, where it's just Datha versus an army and who will win.
There's the Prayer Binding coming to hit the Spider. Well, Dan has a cool little combo in his hand. He has Bite Down and Covert Cut Burst, so that could basically kill any creature.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, very nice.
yeah, so he has 2 Bite Downs in the Covert. So if Emmett just plays a 4/4 first strike lifelink here, he can take it down uh, in chunks. So
Yeah,
he
very
can,
nice.
yeah. So I imagine he's going to see it. It's not an interaction you come across often, but I imagine he'll see it. Yeah, he's yeah. So bite down and cut purse. Alternatively, he had a second bite down. So if he didn't have the cut purse, he could just take 2 chomps out of the Danitha and Emmett saying nice because that's an interaction that doesn't come up in this format because we don't have one of those effects, that covert cut purse effects that we get that every few sets. Not everyone, but we see it often enough.
True, true.
But yeah,
Usually those effects may have flash, but
yeah, a lot of times I do. This one's a little different. It has disturb, so it has a backside. So you do have to play at sorcery speed.
okay. So this Flourishing Hunter is quite big. It doesn't actually die to like the Giles Fire Nado that Emmett has in his hand.
Okay.
He did draw a Moonrager Slash, and with the Twinferno, be able to take out the 6/6.
Yeah, it's a 2-for-1, but when it's a 6/6 that you have no other way to deal with,
You go
this,
into
is,
it.
this is what we're doing here.
Yeah, and one more land will actually let him kick Shieldred Restoration as to not damage when he brings back the Danitha,
Okay.
inevitably.
Okay, so of note, yeah, this is a good draw, the Siege Zombie, but this Dragon Whelp, which is undersized for its mana cost, is holding back the entire board on its own.
Yeah, well, Emmett looks like he's too threatened by the Siege Zombie. It's just gonna off that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just wants to keep the board, nice and friendly for his sake.
Siege Zombie, a very, very, very key player from Midnight Hunt Limited, for those of you who played essentially any black deck in that format. Uh,
I still think it's fantastic,
was very
especially
good.
if you have like a bunch of
Yeah.
just make those walls work for you. But yeah, so Emmett has Scry to land on top, means he will be able to kick the Shielded Restoration and it will be able to back Danitha and start, hammering in with that very efficient creature.
Yeah, so Dan has drawn a Flowstone Infusion, so that in combination with his Bite Down can get rid of the Danitha yet again. But he doesn't know that, so he's offering the Cut Purse plus one of his removals for the Dragon Whelp. And he obviously can't know that there's a reanimation spell coming, but he's gonna be sad when when he sees it. But actually not, because he has a Death Touch now, which with Bite Down kills anything. So he's set up. He's set himself up here for success. So this restoration is going to come down, but Danitha's gonna die yet again.
At least the 5 life will keep him healthy.
Yeah. So yeah, Shieldred's Restoration, not a card that you see too much in limited. A little too slow, and the unkicked version is very, very punishing. But in these league matches where the games go long, um, you can get to 7 mana, and you probably have a bomb or two in your deck because that's how league works, and you get to reanimate something and gain some life. Like that was very very big.
This he might need to spend the next 2 turns just replaying Danitha in order to try and get that life gain and not die to this 2/2 flyer.
Yeah, okay. With this soul tender, you might have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like he's figuring it out. Doing it main phase could be strange. Like if Dan has something like a pilfer in his deck or whatnot, that would be very very
Yeah,
poor.
true. Very true.
I
He
think
could
he
play
I
the
think he did have a pilfer. I didn't memorize his deck list obviously, but yeah, he didn't absolutely need to do that sorcery speed. So what's the other card in his hand?
the Knight of Dawn's. He could play it here, but at this
Okay,
cost of 1 life. And
he's
I
gonna
don't.
go to
At this state, 1 life might be a lot.
doesn't well if with the 2/2 flyer it doesn't change the clock, right?
No.
It's still 3 turns. So Dan has 2 lands here. Without an answer to Danitha, the Danitha is gonna bring him right back in the game.
Yep.
So let's see if
That.
Dan can draw out of this because he's he's flooding out a bit now with at 9 lands total between the battlefield and his hand.
Yeah, Danitha just kind of has like the perfect toolkit. Surviving. Helping you survive.
Yeah,
Just
well, especially when you can get it back twice
yeah.
and make your opponent kill it every time, right? That card just it makes your opponent have to kill it.
Basically unable to attack into this. You can't really block it because of the first strike. The vision, like the life link, just makes it so you just get incremental. You can't even race it.
Yeah. And
Just
Emmett says, "I feel safe that you don't have another removal for this. I'm gonna start attacking you."
yeah. Considering that he didn't remove his 5/5 or the one, yeah, it's pretty safe to assume your opponent doesn't have removal for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. So these creatures hit hard. All right. Well, let's see what the library can dig up here. See if he can
Oh well.
find the right book here. He's looking at Urborg Repossession and a Llanowar Loam Speaker. So
What can you
the
repossess?
he can get back Siege Zombie and Flourishing Hunter. Looks to be the ones he could get. If he could do that this turn, he could win, but he doesn't. He doesn't have a way to draw it because he could attack for 2 and then get the Siege Zombie in for the last point. But by the time he is able to cast the Siege Zombie, um, Emmett's going to be at 7 life, and he's going to be lower than 9 probably.
Well, he'll go to 1 here, and then he'll go to 6 because Danitha plus the Knight of Dawn's Light will
Yeah,
get him to a healthy amount.
yeah. So he is going to. Okay, so he's not attacking with his flyer here. I guess he needs it to block the 5/5. Looks like he has kept the Urborg repossession on top, and the Llanowar Loam Speaker has gone to the bottom.
Yeah, Emmett's turning the corner just because you know Danitha was able to come back into play multiple times.
Yeah, it's just Tanitha's just a stats monster, basically. Like that other ability shows up once in a while. This is not an aura, an equipment set, so
Yep.
that line of text looks more for something like Commander, perhaps, or Brawl. But just the stats on it are insanely good. Just three really good combat keywords. Like, you know, can't
Like,
get too much of a better efficient 5 drop than this.
looks like this guy's training with the 5/5, and you're putting the wall in front of the 2/2 just so you don't die, because Emmett does have the capacity to pump it 3 times.
Yeah, this game turned around quick. When you're not drawing well and your opponent gets back their bomb twice, it's gonna be hard. Like he
Yeah.
had the answers. He had the answers for the first one. He had the answer for the second one. Not the third one.
And at the end of the day, it's all just about running out of gas.
Yeah, and now Emmett's going to be able to scry and draw from this combat. Vivisector and Opportunist, good friends.
I wouldn't have hated the block on Danitha actually. Makes him to kill the knight to punt the knight, and he could always just draw. Oh, that's pretty disgusting. He off the first strike kill, he has drawn take up the shield.
Oh.
Now he could just save his 5/5 Necromass from the Death Touch.
Oh my, yeah. First strike with
Yeah,
opportunist and you draw an instant.
yeah, it's quite a fortunate draw and
Yeah,
probably one that.
this. Dan's got his. I think that's an Urtai little emote there, of
Yeah.
Urtai not having a good time.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so he can pull back some stuff from his graveyard, not die in the next turn, but
Oh yeah. I mean, he could still draw something.
the 6/6
Emmett's
does
gonna have a
represent a
lot more draws.
blocker for Danitha at the very least.
I think it's probably just blocking the 6/6. Emmett has drawn a search party captain.
Ah, I'm a fan.
I don't know. I don't know what's in Emmett's deck by heart, but it might have been better to play the search party captain just because you might find something to just win you the game right there.
Yeah, he is just throwing an attack with everything except the opportunist. He doesn't get into combat too often. Only when the opportunity presents itself for it to attack profitably. But he's making fairly straightforward blocks here.
Learned from last time. Don't block the first strike with an opportunist.
And he's back up to 20 now from very low life.
Oh yeah.
I think he got him
All
down
right.
to 4 at the lowest.
So Emmett's about to draw a Keldon strike team, which compared with a combination of other creatures is quite good.
Well, there's a search party captain, as cheap as you can get it. I am enjoying that.
Oh yeah, we all love our 1 mana 2/2s draw.
I like it when you chain them, just one after the other.
A bit less likely in League,
Yeah.
and
So
there goes the game.
unfortunately, we just see, yeah, that game got turned around. That Danitha coming back was just too much to handle, right? He had all the answers. He even killed it the second time, but yeah, we see that rare coming, turning the game around, and Dan's draws were not what he needed to compete with that. So with that, we close our feature matches for the week, and we'll be back next week, same time, same day.